Most YouTubers are making these 7 mistakes that are hurting their channel from growing. And the first is they're using titles that nobody is searching for. You got to remember that YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world. So you are missing out on a huge opportunity for people gaining access to your channel for the first time, being able to discover your videos even in the first place by not optimizing your titles for search. I have an example I want to show you right here. This is a title of a video. It's called A Weekend in LA/Hollywood Vlogmas Day 8. So I'm not trying to pick on this person here, but the problem with this video is that it's really not discoverable if you wanted to search for things to do in LA. It's just too broad. And really this person is only going to get that traffic from people who immediately subscribe to her, or just maybe a handful of views from the browse feature. On the opposite side though, here's a little bit of a better title that's more specific. What to do in LA for 3 days, LA travel vlog. This is a much better title. It's more positioned specifically for people with the intent to go to LA for a short period of time, maybe a weekend, maybe you have a couple, 2 or 3 days, and they search for what to do in LA on a weekend trip. This is a video that's going to be able to show up in those search results versus the first video was just too broad. A weekend in LA, what to do, it's not as specific. One of the methods we teach in our online course at Think Media is called the ASQ method, which is answer specific questions. This is by far one of the best ways to start growing a following, especially if you're a really small channel under 1,000 subscribers. By answering specific questions that people are searching for in the YouTube search bar, you can quickly grow an audience of people interested in the same things that you're interested in. So the takeaway here is to use clear search optimized titles that somebody could find by searching your video in the YouTube search bar, rather than using something that's overly broad that's really hard to find from search results. And if you want to check out that online course that I mentioned of ours, it's called Video Ranking Academy, and we deep dive into a lot of these strategies and teach you so much about how to succeed on YouTube. So I'll actually link that course down in the description below so you can check it out. Now, the second mistake small channels are making are they have confusing and or inconsistent channel focus. So the way this plays out is that maybe one day you're uploading like a gaming video, then the next day is like a vlog content, and then you're doing tutorials and tech reviews, camera reviews. And even if your content is really good, people don't really know what they subscribe for. They just watch one video and they hit subscribe, and then the next one doesn't even relate to the last one, and it gets super confusing. And I'll be the first to admit, when I first started my channel, I was all over the map. I was doing like Bluetooth speaker reviews was like what my main thing was. And then I was doing Premiere editing tutorials and then budget camera reviews. I was all over the place. So when people subscribed to me, they were like, oh, I thought Craig was known for like audio speaker reviews. Now he's doing editing tutorials. It's just kind of confusing for your audience. Something that our CEO, Sean Cannell, always says, and I can literally just like visualize his head just like right here saying this to me. Never upload a video that your subscribers did not subscribe for. So you sort of got to put all of your video concepts through that test of, if I publish this video, are people actually going to watch it? Is there demand for this content? Do they want to watch it? Does it make sense to live on my channel? These are all questions that you need to ask. And ideally, you're going to have a consistent focus, at least from like 0 to 1,000 subscribers or even 10,000 and beyond. We encourage a pretty narrow focus. Like for Think Media, we are YouTube strategy and tech coaching. Like my personal channel, on the other hand, was like it kind of evolved from being all over the place to a more narrow focus for budget Sony camera reviews. Another example would be one of our Video Ranking Academy students, Kayla. She has a channel that walks you kind of chapter by chapter, verse by verse through the Bible, and it's designed for women. So you know what you're getting if you go to Kayla's channel. The main takeaway here is that saying riches are in the niches. Do you say niche? 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 Riches are in the niches is the saying, and we definitely find that to be true, especially for small channels. The third mistake that small channels are making is focusing on the wrong analytics and measuring the wrong analytics. A lot of times new creators, they're so focused on like their YouTube Studio app and they're refreshing that homepage to see the subscriber count grow or how many views they got in the last 48 hours. And while it is fun to see those metrics, those numbers do not actually lead to growth. They are just the result of good principles and good tactics that drive subscriber counts to go up and views to go up. And they're really a reflection of a few key metrics that you should be focusing on. The first would be your click-through rate. Click-through rate is just the percentage of people who have the opportunity to click on your video, whether it's shown on like the home feed or a suggested bar on the side. It's how many people actually click on your video. And there's ways that you can increase those click-through rates to get more views and subscribers. You can have better titles and better thumbnails. You can have a better core topic idea that leads to more engagement. So click-through rate's really important. There's also average view duration, which measures the average percentage of time that somebody spends watching a specific piece of content. And you can improve those numbers by better storytelling and better hooks, all these things. And you can look at your audience retention graph, and that's a little indicator to you as those moments where there's like big spikes and that shows a lot of interest, or there might be those dips that show where people are losing interest in your video. So click-through rates and average view duration, your retention graph, this really is where the secret sauce is. This is what's going to tell you what is actually working. And by improving these metrics and these data points, you're going to see your views and your subscribers rise as a natural result. The fourth mistake we see creators making is not hooking your viewers in the first 30 seconds. So sometimes we see people with really long introductions where they're explaining what they're going to talk about, what the video is about, rather than just diving directly into the content. And you can see with this video, like literally within, I think like 6 seconds, we started the content of this video. We didn't waste a lot of time with long intros that are a little boring or unclear. That is not a winning strategy at all. YouTube literally even measures the percentage of people who leave within the first 30 seconds because then they know that this video isn't really meeting the demand of the people who clicked on the video. So you might have like a high click-through rate, but then the first 30-second drop-off is really high. That means that video is not going to have a very long shelf life. So what you should do here is spend the most amount of time on planning and shooting and editing your hook to drive retention upward. We want to get people past that first 30 seconds. So if you're going to spend, I think people spend a lot of time on like, they have a 15-minute video and they're going to spend so much time editing the whole thing. Well, I think that's okay to do if you have a lot of time. I would say focus on like 30 or 40% of your overall editing time on the first 30 seconds and make that really polished and make the content really clear and focused. And then you can kind of get away with a little bit messier editing towards the end of the video because if somebody's already watching like 6 or 7 minutes of your video, they're probably locked in for the rest of it, but really focus on that first 30 seconds. The fifth mistake that small channels are making is they're buying gear and waiting around for gear or the right setup to come in that they don't actually need. And this honestly was me. I remember when I first started YouTube, I was trying to get my studio all dialed in and I was like, okay, once I get my studio space set up, I'll make my first YouTube video. And then it was like, okay, I made a couple, they didn't do very well. And then I was like, okay, you know what I need? I need an animated intro bumper, which honestly, we recommend don't use those. Like truly, they're not very helpful. So then it was like, once I get my animated intro, I will then post my next video. These are all just distractions from taking inventory of what expertise or entertainment or ideas or tech that you already have access to that you could share to the world today. Like right now, there's probably a video you could go be making right now instead of watching me ramble for 20 minutes. So instead of worrying so much about gear, just look around and see what you already have. Most people have a really great smartphone. Like here's my iPhone 15 Pro. This thing is fire. Like it can shoot 4K video and a lot of frame rates. There's no reason you can't just start with your phone. Grab yourself like a $50 microphone. We'll link some options down in the description below that you can check out. But the main takeaway here is don't worry about your gear. Just focus on what you have and start making videos. Now, the sixth mistake that we see creators make is really poor thumbnails that don't create a desire to click. And they usually prioritize the thumbnail as like the last thing in their content creation process, when really that should be moved up to like the second or third part of the content creation process. You should lock in your idea, have a really good title, and then think through the thumbnail, if not create the thumbnail right away before you even start recording your video to begin with. I'm just gonna keep throwing myself under the bus and show you some awful thumbnails that I used to make. Like check out this one right here, 5 video microphones under $30. This is just an awful thumbnail. And maybe at first glance, it's like, oh, it's kind of okay. But this is awful for many reasons. First of all, I'm holding up like the number 5, and then I have another 1 over here pointed to like some word that are like 5 mics under $30. And then my background's super busy and there's like all this stuff behind me. And then there's like another text down below, cheap video microphone review. There's just way too much going on and the title isn't very good either. This is just awful video packaging and it did like 900 views, right? So not very good engagement. And of course, not all of my thumbnails were that bad. This one is a lot simpler and a lot cleaner. So it's just 2025 guide. And then you have to read the title to determine what is the guide about. But if you were to see all of the cameras, right, it's like, oh, there's all these Sony cameras on the table. So this is my 2025 buyer guide for Sony Alpha cameras. And this video did a lot better and had way higher click-through rates because it's a better package with the thumbnail and title than that first video. I mean, that thing was just awful. Here's another bad example, my new studio. Tour my new studio editing suite 2020 cheap. Oh man, it's just, I'm sad when I look at these. Like, look at the thumbnail. You can't even see the studio. It's just like sort of a blurry background with big white text, my new studio. It's awful. And then juxtapose that to like this Think Media studio setup with Omar here, almost 300,000 views. You can see the lighting and the cameras and you see Omar in the scene. Like this is such a better thumbnail and it speaks to the pain point and the desire of the viewer. The desire of the viewer is not just to see some white text that says my new studio. They want to see the studio setup if they're wanting to build a studio. So these are the kinds of things you need to think through, and look at your competitors to see what kind of thumbnails are working in the niche that you're in. That's going to give you a lot of good insight as to what kind of thumbnails you should be producing. And the seventh mistake that small channels are making is they're ending videos without a call to action, otherwise known as a CTA. So this is a direction of what the viewer should be doing right after they finish the video that they just watched. The issue here is that most creators, they don't have a plan for the ending of their video. They sort of just like make something up, right? Like, thanks for watching, like, I'll see you next time, bye, right? These are not very good outros. You want to plan your outro and your call to action to lead them into another piece of content. I also see people have way too long of outros that are like 1 to 2 minutes, and they're just too lengthy, and they sort of summarize all of the content that was just in the video. So I see both of these pretty common. And instead of either of these methods, you want to be as specific as possible and have a clear call to action of what the viewer should do after they finish their video. And how this looks in practice is literally what I'm doing right now. So if you still have under 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and you want to learn how to exponentially speed up your channel growth, you should watch this podcast episode right here that I did with Nate. We'll see you over there. Peace.